What's up, and welcome to the No Bullshit Manifestation Show. I'm your host, Kat Kozad, manifestation expert, money mindset and fulfillment coach, and multiple six-figure entrepreneur. Come sit with me while I spill the real tea on what it's like to practice using intentional manifestation, demystify all of the woo-woo and confusing bullshit that comes along with creating the life of your dreams, and give you a realistic view of what it's like to be on a personal, spiritual, and professional growth journey. The goal of this podcast is to support and guide you towards manifesting all of your dreams, shed light on the things that people are too scared to talk about, and encourage you to become the person who gets to have it all, be it all, and do it all. I am so happy you are here. Let's fucking do this thing. As we step into 2023, I want to share 3 major lessons that allowed 2022 to be the most abundant year of my life yet. What's up, and welcome back to the No Bullshit Manifestation Show. I'm your host, Kat Kozad, and in this podcast episode, I am going to be giving you, like I said, 3 top lessons that I learned in 2022 because, let's be honest, 2022 kicked the shit out of me. And if you follow me over on Instagram, you would have seen my year in review post that I made. But essentially 2022 has been, or was, I guess, because we're not in it anymore, the most challenging year of my life thus far. But with that being said, it was also the most abundant year of my life. So in 2022, I decided to stop drinking. I got sober, and this is huge for me because up until the beginning of 2022, I heavily depended on alcohol for almost all aspects of my life as an adult. And truly this past year, there's just been a whole new becoming of self, a dying off of an old identity, and learning who I am and what I like and how I operate in the world as someone who doesn't drink. Because let's be honest, alcohol is infused into almost everything, including like fucking baby showers and work parties and all of these different things. And it was really challenging as a 26-year-old to say, okay, I'm actually done with this and step away from that. And living here in New York City, there's so much centered around drinking, and choosing to quit drinking was something that challenged the fuck out of me. So I got sober. I was accused of being a cult leader and a lot of other ugly things by one of the quote unquote closest people in my life, which completely challenged me. And I'll speak a bit on that later on. I experienced health issues that I never thought that I would have to experience as a 26-year-old. I realized that nomadic life and living out of a suitcase isn't as glamorous or as incredible as it's made out to be in all of these Instagram posts and YouTube videos and whatnot that we see online. I met new edges inside of myself. I pushed new limits, pushed new boundaries that I never knew were possible for me. And I don't say any of this, I don't share any of this for sympathy or for pity. I share this because despite the fact that 2022 kicked the shit out of me and broke me down in so many ways, it still ended up being the most abundant year of my life. And now, after all of these things have happened and I experienced these trials and tribulations in 2022, I am the most happy, healthy, confident, wealthy version of myself that I have ever been. And that's why I am here to share the 3 most major lessons that I learned in 2022 that allowed it to be the most abundant year of my life, so that you can take these lessons, incorporate them into your life in whatever way feels fit, so that you can ensure that 2023 gets to be the most abundant year of your life if you run into any sort of adversity or anything that feels as though it could hold you back on any sort of level. So let's kick this off. Number one, the first major lesson that I learned in 2022 is to let go of the idea or plan that things need to happen in a certain way in order for you to manifest your desires. This is one of the things that I see a lot of the women that I work with struggle with, because we are conditioned in our society to believe that there's always a plan. Majority of people have been given what I like to call the prescribed path, which is to grow up, go to school, get a degree, find a partner, settle down, start a family, buy a house, be successful in that career. And if you check all of these boxes, then you are going to be successful and you are going to be happy. And within that, I have found that so many people are actually completely unfulfilled by that plan and feel as though they've failed in some sort of way, or they didn't meet up to their potential because their plan didn't go the way that they wanted it to, or because they followed the plan and it didn't look how they wanted it to at the end. Shit is never going to go according to plan. And when you hold on to that plan, when you create this vision, when you create this blueprint of how you think things are supposed to go, and it doesn't go that way, that is going to create so much more resistance for you and so much more lack than if you could just accept the fact that there's not supposed to be a plan. And that plan, even if you were to set it, isn't going to go the way that you think it's supposed to. So instead of creating a plan, instead of creating the blueprint, instead of creating this vision of exactly how things are supposed to go and trying to control that and trying to maintain that day in and day out, instead create the trust inside of yourself that no matter what happens, you know that best case scenario gets to be the inevitable for your life. You know that whatever you run into, whatever trials, whatever tribulations, whatever roadblocks, that is actually something that is there that is serving you. And that if you continue to move forward, connect to yourself, connect to a sense of trust inside of yourself, that best case scenario gets to be the inevitable for your life. So an example for me of this in 2022, I completely burned my old business model to the ground in 2022. And there's hardly anybody who knows this because it was a very behind the scenes thing that was happening. But at the beginning of 2022 and the first few months of 2022, I had this vision, I had this idea, I had this plan of how my business had to be, the way it had to look, because that's how I had done things thus far in my business for the past few years. And it worked. It worked well. I have a very successful business, and I had a very successful business up until that point, but I fucking hated it. And I resented the way that I was doing business. And it just felt so out of alignment to me. At one point, it felt so in alignment. It felt good. It got me to where I needed to be in business. But the beginning of 2022 and the first few months of it, there were some big shifts happening inside of me internally. And because of that, the way that I was doing things in the past, the old structures, the old models, the old plan that I had was no longer working for me. So I burned that shit to the ground. And there was so much resistance. There was so much fear. There was so much doubt that came up in that. But through choosing to cultivate trust inside of myself and trust in the fact that best case scenario is always going to be the inevitable for my life, that best case is literally just what is destined for me, I created a new business model and a new approach to the way that I go about things that serves me so much better. It's created such an abundance of time in my schedule. It's created so much more impact in the lives of my clients. And it has created so much more financial abundance. I made so much more money when I connected to that trust inside of myself and I let go of how I thought I needed to do business, because all of that was based off of what other people taught me, what other people told me. And again, while it served me for a season in my life, it was no longer serving me. So instead of sticking to that plan and holding on to it and trying to control things like I did in the past, I let that shit go and I allowed myself to cultivate the trust that whatever I chose to do, when I chose to follow my inspiration, I was going to be led to a new way of doing things and approaching things that was going to serve me so much more. So for you, looking at where are you like holding on to a plan? Where do you have this death grip on a plan that is no longer serving you? Or what plans have you created for yourself that are so strict and so regimented that you are not allowing yourself flexibility and intuition and creativity within it? Because that is necessary for effortless manifestation. Your creativity, your inspiration, your intuition is necessary for effortless manifestation. So let go of that plan that is not serving you because, again, shit's never going to go according to plan. But if you can cultivate that trust inside of yourself, that best case scenario is always going to be the inevitable for your life. It doesn't fucking matter if you have the plan or not. Which leads us into a second lesson that I learned in 2022, which is that past versions of yourself must be shed, must die off in order for you to continue to upgrade in wealth, abundance, health, and freedom. And I know that this sounds extreme, but stick with me. Old versions of you must die off in order for new manifestations to take place. What do I mean by this? So old versions of you will not get you the life that you want to manifest because old versions of you got you the life that you used to have. They got you the life that you used to have in the past. They got you the life that you have now. And in order to continue to up-level and ascend, you must allow old identities, habits, beliefs, patterns to die off. Even and especially when it would be so much more comfortable to remain in those patterns. So, example of this for me, there's two examples of this. And I'll go with the one of getting sober because I talked about that at the beginning of this podcast episode. Y'all, this was the most challenging thing that I experienced in 2022. I know I said it, but as a 26-year-old, I believed that like my social life was dead, that it was done, that it was over with by choosing to get sober. And I had months where I was sad, where I was depressed, where I was lonely, because I felt as though this version of myself that I had known since the age of 17 just no longer existed anymore. I didn't know who I was independent of my relationship with alcohol. And so there was a grieving period where I really allowed myself to tap into and feel and process those emotions and slowly but surely start to piece together an identity of who I am and who I get to be as someone who chooses not to drink. And that required this old version of me to die, drunk cat. I used to literally identify as drunk cat because people love drunk cat. I had so many friends that were stoked on drunk cat. I was stoked on drunk cat a lot of the time because she got love and validation and attention and all of these different things. But drunk cat wasn't serving me anymore. And she sure as hell was limiting the amount of abundance that I could attract and manifest into my life because alcohol was such a way for me to sabotage my success. And so this past version of me died so that I could recreate the version of myself that I am now. And within this, creating this new identity of who I am and who I get to be as someone who doesn't drink, there has been so much space that has been created inside of me to welcome in more abundance. Because like I said, past versions of you got you the life that you've had in the past. They've gotten you the life that you have now. But if you want bigger, if you want better, if you want more abundant, you have to let past versions of you die off. The things that are no longer supporting you, the things that are no longer bringing you the level of abundance that you desire, you have to be brave enough to look them in the face and let go of them. So whatever that may be for you, like I said, for me, it would have been easier to keep drinking, 1000%. It would have been easier to continue to be the quote unquote normal 26-year-old and continue to depend on the same social situations and whatnot that I have in the past, but that wasn't serving me, that wasn't supporting me anymore. So I chose to release that part of myself. The other one that comes up for me is like releasing the identity and the version of myself that depended on less than amazing relationships, especially with men, in order to be validated. There's been an ongoing relationship that I've had in my life on and off for 6 years until this year where I said no fucking more because I was not being treated to the level that I deserve to be treated, to the level that this version of myself chooses I get to have the standard for. It would have been much more easy, much more comfortable to continue to depend on the validation and the connection that I had with this person to continue to get dopamine and feel good chemicals, but that doesn't serve me. So that past version of myself who depended on relationships that do not fully serve me and do not fully light me up got to die in 2022 so that I could create space for people, and especially men, that are going to treat me like a fucking queen. So again, taking this and implementing it into your life, seeing where you are playing small, where you are allowing your past patterns, your past behaviors, your past identities continue to live on, and looking at why that is not supporting you, why that is not serving you, and creating a greater vision for yourself so that you can create an even greater identity that's going to welcome in the abundance that is going to allow you to live in like your zone of genius, live this big, beautiful life that you are destined to have. And our third and final lesson that I have for 2022, honestly, there are so many more lessons in this, but these are the top 3 major ones. The third, and the one that kicked my shit more than anything, is that not everyone is going to support or agree with your dreams, and that's okay. The only support that you really need is your own. So like I said at the beginning of this podcast episode, this year I was accused of being a cult leader along with a whole boatload of other incredibly hurtful things. And this experience kicked the shit out of me. This hands down was the thing that brought me to my knees in 2022 because, like I said, it was by one of the quote unquote closest people in my life. And while this was the most painful thing that I experienced in 2022, this was also the greatest gift that I received because this experience and the aftermath of it gave me the opportunity to dig so deep into myself and look at what I define as truth and what I believe in and completely shift the way in which I believe and trust myself. This experience gave me so much. It gave me the opportunity to check in with my morals, to check in with my mission, to check in with my belief, to check in with my behaviors, to check in with my relationships and my connections so that I could connect to greater and deeper purpose inside of myself. And instead of running to other people to get their love and their validation, I use this as an experience to build an even stronger love and trust for myself. That shit wasn't easy, but that experience gave me the greatest lesson that I could have learned this past year. So, like I said, not everyone is going to support or agree with your dreams, and that's okay. Not everyone is going to support or agree with your lifestyle, but that's okay. Because the only support that you need is your own. And when you can do that, when you can support yourself, despite what the world is saying, despite what external forces want to try and tell you, you are blazing a trail for others to follow in your footsteps if they choose to do so. You are creating the path for other people to walk down because they will see it and honor the light that you are choosing to shine, even if it doesn't make sense to them. And if they choose to do that, because it's not your responsibility. It's not your responsibility to try to convince other people of your worth, to try and convince people of your dreams, of your mission, of what you are choosing to do. Your only responsibility is to know your truth and choose to pursue it anyways. Choose to pursue your manifestations regardless of what the world is trying to tell you, regardless of what your friends, your family, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your teachers, whoever are trying to tell you. Because that is where you create so much conviction in yourself that you are undeniable to your manifestations. That is where you become such a clear channel for your manifestations, because there is literally nothing that is going to stop you from believing in yourself and your mission. So, there you have it, my top 3 lessons of 2022. Just a reminder, those top 3 lessons, first one was that you can let go of the idea or plan that things need to happen in a certain way to manifest your desires. They do not need to happen in a certain way in order for you to manifest your desires. Instead, work on cultivating the trust inside of yourself that best case scenario gets to be the inevitable for your life. Second lesson is that past versions of yourself must die off in order to upgrade in wealth, abundance, health, and freedom. And yes, while that sounds extreme, it is necessary to create the space for you to have even bigger, better, and more abundant things in your life. The past version of you will not get you the life that you want in the future. Only you choosing to become a greater version of yourself, a more aligned, a more connected version of yourself will. And third, and for me, most important lesson of the year is that not everyone is going to support or agree with your dreams, and that's okay. Because the only support that you actually need is your own. And with these 3 top lessons that I learned in 2022, I know without a shadow of a doubt that 2023 is going to be the most abundant year of my life. And if you are wanting to ensure that 2023 is the most abundant year of your life, then you are going to want to get on the wait list for the Abundant AF Babe Academy. If you're wanting to learn how to master your vibration and clear any mental, emotional, or energetic blockages that have been holding you back from manifesting the life of your dreams and truly becoming the person who gets to have it all, be it all, and do it all, then the Abundant AF Babe Academy was made for you. If you are ready for massive wealth, if you are ready for all of the good things that you have been wanting to call into your reality, the Abundant AF Babe Academy was made for you. So click the link down below in the show notes to put yourself on the wait list for the Abundant AF Babe Academy. There's only a few spots available for the round that is going to be opening in February of this year. So enrollment is opening February of 2023. And I'm so excited to help this next round of people make 2023 the most abundant year of your life. So like I said, click the link down below in the show notes to join the waitlist for the Abundant AF Babe Academy. You will get an email letting you know as soon as enrollment is open so that you can claim one of these spots. And I'm so excited to help you make this year everything that you want it to be and more. But until next time, I'm sending you all of my love, and I'll chat with you on the next episode. Oh my gosh, thank you for listening to today's episode. I'm so grateful to have these no bullshit talks with you. If you enjoyed today's episode or the podcast as a whole, please spread the love by leaving me a review on iTunes or sharing the podcast with others. This is how I will be able to spread more of these good vibes and be able to make more of an impact on the lives of others. And if you're not already part of all of the goodness and communities that I have to offer, check out the show notes. I have links to the different ways that I can support you on your manifestation journey and help you live a life full of more money, fulfillment, and freedom. But that is all for now. So big love and hugs, and I will chat with you soon, babe.